Hello, Mr. Moon.
Oh, greetings. Any luck removing some more of those demiguise statues?
I actually have some moons for you.
Dear me, you have been busy. Incredible, thank you. You're ready for the final Alahomora lesson. With this knowledge, no lock shall ever stand in your way. You have done all I asked. I only wish I knew who put those statues everywhere in the first place. Alas. If you do find more, please feel free to remove them. You'll be doing your caretaker a huge service. And if I ever find out who the bully is behind this cruel trick, I shall let you know. Thank you once again for your assistance and tenacity. Now that you've mastered Alahomora, no lock is unbreakable. But do feel free to keep finding demiguise statues and removing those moons.
I suspect you are the one who has been interfering with a rather personal matter. The demiguise statues and the moons contained therein were placed as they were for good reason. You should not meddle in the personal affairs of others.
I don't think Mr. Pemberton meant to use his own stationery. He knows something about those demiguise moons. He's in Hogsmeade, apparently. Perhaps I shall pay him a visit.
What was... I think I'm yourself.
Potato! Never liked bacon.
You do release Treadwell. Redactor. You disappoint.
Confringo! Glacis! Defender!
Perhaps a hybrid. Bouncing tentacular.
I've finished the activities you assigned me, Professor Garlick.
Wonderful! I hope you gained a greater appreciation for the flora in our lives. I am forever enraptured by it. Just yesterday, I spent hours pruning my self-fertilizing shrubs and flutterby bushes. Didn't realize how long I'd been at it until the sun began to set. Well, if there's one thing I love to see more than my plants thriving, it's one of my students doing the same. Now, ready to learn flipendo? Chin up, keep a light grip, and it's all in the wrist. Let's see you give it a go. You will want to focus with this spell. Nothing as mortifying as knocking back a colleague when all you wanted to do was move a few pots. Wonderfully done! If you'd like to practice a bit more, you're welcome to do so here in the greenhouse. Just mind the plants, please.
Flipendo!
Look at that. You're a natural. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. The greenhouse won't keep itself in order without a nudge from me.
Professor, I was wondering where you're from. What's your background?
Oh, how nice of you to ask. Well, let's see. I grew up in London, right on the Thames.
That sounds lovely. All the sights and bustle of a city.
To some, yes. I used to dream of living in the country, but it wasn't until I came to Hogwarts that I felt truly at home. Mind you, it did take some time, and whilst it is my fervent hope that each student eventually feels as at home here as I do, it is not always the case.
I suppose that makes sense.
Well, we each bloom differently, don't we? Some of us, like Devil's Snare, thrive in the shadows, whilst others crave the attention of a bouncing bulb. And we each grow and thrive according to our own plan. Oh, I was terribly nervous when I arrived at the castle. You see, as a child, I knew nothing of witches or wizards. You can imagine how astonished I was to receive my letter from Hogwarts. I spent a good deal of time alone in either the greenhouse or the library my first days here.
I'm sorry the other students weren't more friendly.
Oh, but I've given you the wrong impression. On the contrary, I was shown great kindness. In fact, a 7th year took me under her wing during those first days. She remains one of my dearest friends.
Was it Serona Ryan?
It was indeed. How on earth did you know that?
Serona has been a good friend to me as well. In fact, I retrieved a box of letters from Mrs. Sprottle for her.
Oh, darling Mrs. Sprottle. She was always astonished I knew as much magic as I did, being Muggle-born. I dare say you'll find that the friends you make here at Hogwarts will last a lifetime. Now, I'd best get to my recent delivery from the Magic Neep. Mr. Teasdale promised me quite an assortment of seeds this week. Lovely to see you.
Those statues took time and effort.
Pardon me, sir, but about those curious demiguise statues I've seen.
What? Who are you? Why do you ask?
They're causing Mr. Moon terrible distress.
Ha! Good. That was the idea.
So you did create them?
Yes, I did. It was a ploy to give that pathetic oaf Moon a taste of the grief he caused me years ago. You are the one who's been pilfering them.
I am, at the request of Mr. Moon. I received your owl on your stationery.
Ah, well, fitting Moon would enlist a student. Too cowardly to do it himself. Huh, hasn't changed a bit. Even when we were at school, he was a cowardly bully. Gave me a horrible nickname, which I shan't repeat. I was thrilled when we left school and he seemed gone for good. Then I started seeing him around Hogsmeade. It was too much. Even if I do take satisfaction in that his life's destiny was to be a lowly caretaker.
Mr. Moon does a good deal for the school, and he's taught me a lot. He's terrified of those statues.
I know. You should have seen his face when that boggart appeared. Oh, priceless. That's when I knew what I needed to do. I simply didn't want to encounter him anymore. So, I shrewdly put a boggart in his path to learn his greatest fear. I then created the demiguise statues to keep him in his place, so to speak. The moons were an inspired play on his name. It worked brilliantly. Until you started clearing them out.
Sounds as if Mr. Moon deserved what he got. But perhaps it's time you both moved on.
Fair point, I suppose. If they've terrified him, as you say, he may have learned his lesson.
Mr. Moon, I've learned who's behind the demiguise statues. It was a classmate of yours that you bullied, Piers Pemberton.
Oh, I might have known. Pigtails Piers.
I don't think he likes being called that.
Of course he does. Oh, he had such flowing locks, and we used to laugh about them. I laughed the hardest of all. Clever, clever man. I'd no idea he was so devious. I must go and congratulate him. Whatever statues remain seem less terrifying now that I know they were put out by old pigtails. Continue collecting them if you like. As for me, I'm going to go and pay a visit to my old friend.